Local education subsidy from central government is the financial resource for educational expenses earmarked mainly for both primary and secondary education. As the sum of about 20% of internal taxes and a portion education tax levied on taxpayers, the size of local education subsidy increases in tandem with tax revenues. The calculation formula of local education subsidies, interlinked with internal tax revenues, was first introduced in 1972, when the Korean population was on the rise with a key agenda of human capital development through education. And this formula is still in use today. However, some call for change in the formula, which presently renders education subsidy move in parallel with tax revenues in order to efficiently allocate public resources for social issues like the aging population and the COVID-19 pandemic. Why? First, the current formula does not take into account the declining trend of the school-age population. It is projected that in 2060, the school-age population will be half the 2020 level. In a long-term projection by 2060, it is expected that the average subsidy per student will grow about 5.5 folds from 10 million won in 2020 to 54 million won in 2060. This magnitude of growth far exceeds the nominal GDP per capita increase of 3.8 times, reflecting income and inflation during the same period. What is more, now, local education subsidies are limited only to primary and secondary education, so that tertiary education, including universities or lifelong learning, cannot benefit from this financial resource. The result is unbalanced educational spending, as seen in Korea's place among OECD countries, ranking first in primary and secondary education, but remaining in lower rank in tertiary education. Then how? There should be more spending on education within the extent of income growth and inflation. And education subsidies should be in sync with nominal GDP instead of internal taxes and reflect the changing school-age population. Suppose the share of the school-age population rises. In that case, the local education subsidy should increase faster than the growth rate of nominal GDP. In the opposite scenario, the subsidies should be expended slower than nominal GDP. Under the present approach, in 2060, the average education subsidy per student will be nearly 39% of nominal GDP per capita. For Korea to maintain its educational environment level of G20 countries with a better educational environment than Korea as of 2018, it is estimated that the minimally required education subsidy per 6 to 17 years old student should be about 21% of nominal GDP per capita. Provided that the proposed reform is implemented, which keeps the average subsidy per 6 to 17 years old student at around 27% of GDP per capita by 2060, Korea can provide steady support to invest in better education, outstripping advanced countries. In addition, Korea can save about 1,000 trillion won of the public expenditures over 40 years by curbing excessive cash transfer from central government to local education office.
국가 재정 여력을 확보하고 미래 인적 자본을 효율적으로 형성하기 위해서는 내국세에 연동되어 있는 지방교육 재정 교부금 산정 방식을 개편하는 것이 매우 중요합니다. 학령 인구가 감소한다고 초중고 교육 예산을 줄이는 것은 옳지 않다는 의견이 있을 수 있습니다. 그러나 교부금 산정 방식 개편으로 초중고 예산을 줄이자는 것이 아니라 교부금의 증가 속도를 합리적으로 조절하자는 것입니다. 개편된 방식에 의해 확충된 재정을 대학교육, 직업교육, 평생교육 등 종합적 교육 서비스를 모든 국민에게 고르게 제공하는 데 활용해야 합니다. 그리고 국가재정 여력을 확충하고 여타 지출 분야와의 조화로운 재원 배분을 도모해야 합니다.